5, 4, 3.
We're live. Hey.
What's happening?
This is the second video of day 2.
Day 2.
We did day 2. On day 1. We did 3 videos. So we've got our echo innovations. We got our dialogue going across the bottom. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. It means a lot. It means a lot to show up on this election day, talking about leadership and what are we talking about?
Politics.
I'm excited.
Might as well talk about politics, religion. What are the sacred 3 you can't ever talk about? People's dogs.
Yeah, politics, religion, and people's dogs.
Yeah.
Sacred 3.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my dog. Yeah, the top two are the ones you never talk about with family at Thanksgiving. So what we're doing right now is we are prepping you for Thanksgiving. Get ready.
Dude.
Thanksgiving prep.
People skip Thanksgiving. They don't even do Thanksgiving anymore. They go from Thanksgiving, they go from Halloween to, there are people on Facebook posting Christmas trees up right now.
I have to admit that I do have the Christmas tree. Well, let me explain though. Can I explain real quick? In this crazy season, crazy COVID 2019, 2020 that we're in right now, I need more ways to be happy, to be joyful. So I like walking downstairs and feeling like we're in the season to be joyful, so I can kind of turn all this craziness off for a little bit.
You're not joyful in January? There's not a joyful January?
No.
What?
No,
what?
It's the new year. I'm going to the gym like everybody else for the first 20 days, not 21 because that would be habit forming. I'm only going 20 days to the gym. I'm not happy with myself. I'm thinking of all the things I'm going to change. So
I feel like you're rushing this. Slow it down.
So I'm slowing it down.
Let's slow down a bit. We have a map of Berlin behind us.
We could talk about that. Like, why do we have a map of Berlin behind us? Are you German?
No. So my wife and I, we went to Europe for our honeymoon.
Oh.
And so we wanted to get a map of somewhere we traveled to. So the map is of Berlin, and then it has all like the Brandenburg Gate. It has the Bundestag. It has the eye tower.
I just love how you said Bundestag.
Bundestag. That's how we say it in the South, the Bundestag.
Yes. Speaking of in the South, everybody voted today, I'm sure, or not.
You don't have to vote.
You don't have to vote.
Sometimes people want to fight about politics. They'll throw things out there. They'll be like, I feel so. No kidding. I feel like people that are voting for Trump don't want to talk about it because they don't want to have that fight with somebody else. 100%. If somebody's going to vote for Trump, they don't want anybody else.
That's probably true.
Except for my aunt. My aunt wants to tell everybody to vote for Trump because she loves Tucker Carlson. And I love you, but you do love some Tucker Carlson. She does.
So I mean, we're going to talk about leadership and politics today. We're going to talk about ways that people converse or people struggle to converse. And one of the things that I saw on Twitter today,
What?
I watched that show.
Tweeter? You watched a show called Tweeter?
No, I watched a show called Schitt's Creek. I think everybody's watching that show now.
Pardon me? What kind of
I know it is a crazy show. It's Poops Creek. We'll PG it down.
That's their last name, though, isn't it?
It is.
Okay,
it is.
So you can say that.
It's not even spelled the same. Anyway, on that show, there was a spot where they said, "Oh, I put the Tweeter handle on there," and they all made fun of him. So now I'm calling it Tweeter, not Twitter. Anyway, so here we go. I saw something on Twitter today that really bothered me, and I really had to pause and reflect because somebody made the comment, if you don't vote, then you don't care about the marginalized.
Voter shaming.
Voter shaming.
Voter shaming.
And that goes, so that really hit something with me because I hate statements like that. I hate big generalized statements because that does, maybe you didn't vote because you didn't have a way to vote. Maybe you couldn't get there. Maybe you didn't have a car. Maybe something broke down. Like maybe something happened. So that means if you couldn't get to the voting booth, then you don't care about marginalized people.
What if you literally just didn't care about voting? Because the
Also
conversation in the election polarized you so much, you're like, I really don't even care about either of these.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri wants to talk to us. I don't know why. It's scary. She does that frequently. So I'm wondering if Steve Jobs is somehow listening in onto all of our conversations. Totally possible. We won't scare too many people, but It's the Apple
I
Watch
don't even know
6.
what to do
Be afraid.
right now.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I feel
Like how you said that.
a lot of things.
Why did you say that? Because it's important to say that. You said I feel instead of just making a statement.
Because you can't disagree with a feeling. A feeling is something that happens. It's whenever you throw
That's
it out
good.
there. If somebody says like, I feel like this is important, well, I can't disagree with how you feel because that's something that you inherently own is your own feelings.
That's right. That's
but if
good.
you say, I think this, then it makes it open to like change. It makes
Yeah.
it open to like, you can change this thought because I think this thing,
That's good.
but maybe this thing is something that I should consider.
True. That's good. I like that. I oftentimes try to say that. I feel because of the exact reason that you just stated.
When would it be inappropriate to say I feel when it didn't make sense?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It might be a bad question. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's hard to debate a feeling. And the only people that try Ooh, I'm about to make a generalized statement. I can't say it.
Hold on. Say that what you just said one more time.
It's hard to debate a feeling. It's hard to debate a feeling.
So is that why I throw it out there? Is because you're not going to argue with me over how I feel?
Right. I can't
It's a safer
argue.
play.
It is definitely a safer play. So is that why you do it?
Probably. It probably because it's an easier play to move the conversation forward.
Yep.
You won't argue with that, so that way we can try and move it forward from wherever I'm at.
That's right. That's good. So it's hard to debate a feeling.
Is a feeling temporary or is a feeling permanent?
It's temporary. It's based on the situation.
That's why it works.
It's very good. It's based on the situation. And here, let me just explain my emotion when you said that. My feeling was there was no guard, there was no resistance, there was no I have to say something to that. There was none of that. It was just like, oh, Blake has a feeling and it's cool.
I feel like
I feel.
dude. So a feeling is your sniper. It's that secret guy that's going to sneak in and it's going to disarm whoever you're trying to have a conversation with.
Yep.
So I said, I feel like you're really curious here. And so I threw out two things there. I threw out a feeling. So I feel like one thing. And then I did a label. I feel like, you're not engaged. I feel like you're not here.
Yep.
So what does that cause when I do an incorrect label and a feel?
When you do an incorrect label,
Oh yeah.
so it allows me to speak into it, say, no, I don't really feel like that. This is what I feel like. But there's no guard, there's no defensiveness. I'm just explaining a feeling to you. That's all I'm doing.
But what does that do within the conversation space?
That helps you, because you said it, to help understand where I'm coming from. And then that allows you to frame your next question, to frame your next thought, to frame your next anything into my feeling or into discovering what else is behind that feeling.
So we talked about I think versus I feel. So I think is something that is easily debatable. I feel is harder to debate.
Right.
We talked about a little bit about labeling. So a lot of this stuff is covered in Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference.
It was so funny that you said, when you use the word label, I automatically thought, never split the difference. There was a wise person that told me to read that book a long time ago. I don't know who it was, but it was a wise person. And I discounted it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't sound that interesting. But when I read it, I not only read it, I listened to it on audiobook twice.
It's good.
It is a very good book.
He's from the Midwest. You would think he's like from like a city from how he sounds.
Yes. What
Midwest.
city would you think he's from?
Midwest. I think he's from New York.
I would think it was
I was
from
like New York
too.
or like Chicago maybe, but mostly New York.
Ooh, which leads me to, and never mind. We won't go there. It's too early to go there in the conversation.
No, it's not. Where you want
It's
to
too
go?
early. So
There he is. Oh, it's backwards? Oh, thank you. Let me flip it.
backwards. Hey, brother, we're working on some good stuff right now.
So you went and picked up your girlfriend from the airport last time we talked.
This is good. This is good. Good conversation about conversation. We were talking about
How's that? We good to go? It looks backwards on my screen. Is that good for you? Okay. Oh well.
So we're talking about conversation about a conversation. You brought that last time. We're gonna tag it again. We're actually talking about leadership and politics, but getting into it, we're trying to explain how people have these thoughts, how people have these understandings of conversation. And Blake brought up a good point. He said, "I feel this way." And we kind of broke that down and what that looked like when someone says, "Hey, I feel like this." That caused me, as he's the message sender, I'm the message receiver, to go.
Weird to call it that. That's a weird thing to call the message sender versus the message receiver. Like, I'm the pigeon, I'm the carrier.
There's 3 parts of every communication. 3 parts. Get it in your brain now. There's the message receiver, message sender, message sender, that's where the message originates. Message receiver, that's who's getting the message, and the communication itself. There's 3 parts. So it's so difficult in this day and age that we live in for messages to be received, because the receiver oftentimes shuts down and the sender is seemingly abrasive in how the message is sent.
Wait, hold on. You talk about shutting down first.
Okay.
And then what's the other piece? I lost it. There's a lot of words.
So there's the message receiver that is not, a lot of times, not receiving the message because of the abrasiveness of the sender. So the receiver shuts down. You saw that. We talked about in our first little video before we had to take a pause. We saw that in the first presidential debate. We saw that there was no, it seemed like there wasn't a lot of messages being received. There's a lot of messages sent, but none received. And they were sent oftentimes abrasively. And the 2 candidates talked over each other a lot. And the people sitting at home, kind of where I am, being what I consider and what I consider Blake to be a communication expert, getting frustrated with how the communication was going. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. A little bit about having good communication with people.
So say Drew is a politician advisor. Do you play, how would you play that? And let me preface how I would play that. And then I went while you're thinking for your answer.
Ooh, come on.
So if I'm advising somebody that's during a debate and we're expecting this person to try to talk over me, I stop talking right away. And once they're done talking, I disarm everything they said. I said, okay, you just spoke over me for my entire time. Would you allow me to finish now and let me speak?
Yep.
Because it seems like you really have a lot to say. And I know you want a person that wants to be very fair about what we're talking about. I'm sorry, guys. That was my mother that was texting me. It's very important you always address your mother.
So you use an accusation audit right there. At the end of that, if we're going Chris Voss,
Yeah.
use it. And I know you're a person that wants to be that you. I can't remember exactly the wording that you used.
It's labeling it and it's tone setting. So I know you're a person that thinks this. You set this up and then you knock it down with however you want it to play out.
Okay. Had the terminology wrong. I see where you're going.
No, I'm tracking.
So
same.
if I was advising one of the candidates, I like what you just said. I would also always see, how do you connect to people? How you connect to people? If you find a way in that debate, if the candidate finds a way in that debate to show humility, he's going to connect with a lot of people. And that's, I mean, as I even say, it comes out of my mouth. It seems strange to say.
Man. I don't know about it.
How do I connect? There are I hate generalized statements. My belief is there are very few people in the world who wake up first thing in the morning and say, I'm going to be a jerk to the people I interact with today.
Do you think there are some people that do that? They're like,
absolutely.
I'm going to be an asshole today. That's me, babe.
Absolutely. That's not you, but absolutely.
I mean, that's what they're thinking.
Yeah. Oh, see, you use that pronoun. I thought it was you. I think there are people that just don't care what people say or think. They don't really care about people's opinions. But I believe, and I'm a somewhat positive person, very positive person, that people wake up wanting to do good by other people. So if I can connect, you don't think so?
Go ahead. I want you to finish your thought.
I think that there's people that wake up and I believe people are inherently good. I do believe that.
Okay. That's fair enough.
I believe that people are inherently good, and there are few people that intentionally wake up and say, I want to make everyone around me feel stupid today. And I want to prove that I'm smarter than everybody. And I want to prove that I'm better than everybody. I believe that there are very few people that actually walk the planet like that.
Okay.
I believe there's more people that want to do good for those around them. I believe people are inherently good. That's why when you see an old lady on the side of the road that's trying to get out and fix her own tire, I promise you there'll be at least 5 people that would stop.
Do you think it's good by other people, or is it good by themselves? They want to do good for whatever their piece is.
I don't know. I mean, that kind of goes into what I hear you saying is.
Oh man, pro technique.
So what I hear him saying, and why did I do that? Because he could be thinking something totally different. But I want to see if I'm thinking what he's thinking. I want to see if my paradigms, my perceptions, my stereotypes that I have in my worldview that created a certain type of understanding in my brain. If he has the same understanding.
Oh, time out. Okay, so with your girlfriend, with your boss, with your coworker, with anybody, when they throw something out to you, and when you throw out, what I hear you saying is, it gives you the opportunity to throw back, okay, this is what I think you put out into the world for me to take in or whatever. And then they can comment, oh no, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. So they can either correct it, or they can be like, okay, I'm tracking with you. Yes, that's exactly what I said. Because then once you have that piece, you can build onto that to the next part of the conversation. Sorry, that
was good.
That's a genius spot right there. That was good stuff.
The only problem with that is now I don't know.
Lost your train of thought. I need to pause you on that.
No, that was good. But I was so caught up in your description of what was going on that I was intrigued. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely right. It is a pro technique. Now, people say, I've heard people ask me this, well, how do you know how to do all that stuff? Practice.
What stuff?
What Blake called a pro technique, somebody call it, the pro way to handle stuff. Communication. I've studied communication. I've watched a lot of stuff like this, and then I not only watched it, but the key is to go out and actually use it as soon as you learn it, as soon as you see it. So you start using these techniques that you hear with somebody as soon as you can.
Okay. So we talked about Never Split the Difference. What are the major things that stuck out to you from that book? So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, FBI hostage negotiator. It is a solid book. If you've not read it yet and you don't even like to read, freaking get the audiobook. It is killer. It's done so well. And it has so many things you will take away from that you can apply to your life. So what have you found in that book that you've been able to apply like that?
So I've read tons of communication books, tons of leadership books. No. I gotta validate what you just said. I gotta validate it because it's so good. It's so good. Chris Voss, you're the man. Come on the show. We want to talk to you. Tactical empathy is the one that sticks out.
What does that even mean? That's like, those are words, but
tactical empathy, it means understanding, being able to put yourself in the position of the person that you're having the communication with, and then communicating with them the way that they need it. Tactical empathy, empathizing with the person. I like the term tactical because that goes back to my military roots. Tactical empathy, using tactics to empathize with a person.
Okay. So those are words, but how did you apply that?
I try to put myself in the position of, if I'm the message sender, I try to put myself in the position of the message receiver.
Message receiver?
I try to put myself in the position of the person that I'm talking to. I try to understand. I want to understand as much about the conversation as I can in order to shape and frame my questions, my thoughts, to connect with them. Because when I connect with the other person, their barriers drop, their walls drop, their guard drops, and they say it almost subliminally say, I like this guy. I can hear what he's saying.
Rapport building.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Rapport.
That's a weird French word.
Yeah. I saw somebody spell it the other day, report building.
Fair enough.
So we're building reports. I mean, could be kind of a report. So that's the way that we use. What was the best technique? What was your favorite technique from that book?
Last 3 words, hands down. Last 3 words.
What does that mean?
So
I love you.
when somebody makes a statement and they throw it out there, you repeat the last 3 words that they said with a rising inflection. So I did it to you. Whenever we were talking just then, I even forget what the words that I used, but you said a statement, and I took the last 3 words and I just repeated them back to you with a rising inflection, making it sound like I was questioning what you were saying, which caused you to expand your position, explain more of what you were talking about. It is the easiest thing to apply. It works in all situations with anybody you could be talking to, but you have to be good on the timing with that.
Yep. It goes right back to intent prior to content. So intent, what we say when you're having a conversation with somebody, you want to learn what the intent of the conversation is before you bless them with content, before you give them your content, before you say words. I want to know what your intention of the conversation is. So that's a great way to understand someone's intent prior to the content that you're going to give them.
How do you diffuse arguments?
Punch people in the face and walk away.
That's a good way to do it, but what if it's your wife?
Ooh, you don't do that. I believe that I go high. My biggest coaching technique that I've coached a lot of people in is what I'm about to say right now. And it's go high questions and everything.
Go high questions?
Yeah, that's a go high questions. Yeah, you want me to say more, so that's why you did that. Go high questions. You heard that 3 words, rising inflection. Now I have to explain.
You feel the urge to explain, which makes it even better.
I feel the urge. Not I have to, but you're right. I feel the urge to explain. So high questions. I heard a wise person once say.
Well, maybe.
I really don't know.
Somebody said something.
Somebody said something, and I thought they were wise at the point, so I've always went with it.
All right.
Every conversation, you should attempt to ask 6 questions. Very difficult. It's very difficult, but going back to how you diffuse arguments is the same way. When I start asking questions, that means it is a pro technique. It is a Jedi move. It is if you learn this, you'll be a Jedi. So what I'm doing when I ask questions is I am telling the person subliminally in their subconscious, their mindset, their stance, their self-worth is more important than mine. Everybody's selfish. Where I've said earlier, I said people are inherently good. I also believe that people are inherently selfish. Now, those things there's some tension there. We'd have to weigh that out and try to walk through that. We don't have time for that right now. However, that means I'm putting you in a place of higher authority, in the food chain. I don't know, higher.
Yeah.
I'm putting you higher than me.
Huh?
What do you think? What do you think about the whole, how do you diffuse? Why do you ask that?
I was waiting for it.
Why'd you ask that?
So it's like another pro tip. When somebody asks a question, it's never because they care about your response. It's because they want you to know why they thought about it.
Yep.
So if you throw in whatever you said and you throw out, why do you ask? Dude, you hook them, you pull them right in. So if somebody throws out a question to you just because they want to expand their position.
Now, someone taught me on that. We don't want to lose that.
We're going to pause. Are you calling it a time?
I'm calling a timeout.
Okay.
Someone taught me one time there was a better way to say, why do you ask? There's a better phrase you use. There's a smart person once told me that, and I've oftentimes used the verbiage that they told me.
What was it that you picked?
What makes you ask that?
What? So what was the driver for the change?
Okay. In my experience,
this is like flying all over the place.
In my experience, is this: what did your parents say when you asked them a question? What did your mom or dad? Maybe you didn't have parents. Maybe you had a doctor. It doesn't matter. When you were growing up, I promise you, somebody in your life said this phrase. When you asked a question, and you said, "But why?" What'd they say?
Because I said so.
Because I said so. You automatically link a negative connotation with that why statement. So when someone says what makes you ask, that negative connotation isn't taken away, and then still we have the same result of the initial question. So what makes you ask that?
What makes you ask? Why do you ask? I don't think it's necessarily bad, but when people say why,
Yeah.
it's that, why did you do that, you idiot? The connotation behind a why question is you're an idiot.
That's good. Yep. That's right.
I forgot what I asked.
How do you
Why?
diffuse an argument?
Oh,
What makes you ask that?
agree 100%. 100% agreement. It is hard to fight with somebody that agrees with everything you say.
I struggle with that.
I can tell.
I struggle with that.
Yeah.
That seems almost apathetic to me.
It's not.
When you agree 100%, I'm going, okay, that's not, he doesn't really agree 100%.
So throw something out there.
If throw out a random fact. The sky is green.
I'm with you. The sky has been crazy lately.
Okay, that was too easy. Come on, what if?
Give me $1 million.
Oh no. I'm thinking too hard for this because I'm looking for that perfect thing, and I can't find one. I don't want to use anything politics. I don't want to use that just because of the political season that we're in. Wait, we can do that. All Republicans are right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Well, it makes me go, oh, okay. Here, all Democrats are right.
Right?
I'll vote Libertarian before I'd vote anybody.
I'm with you. I feel that.
Okay. Okay, you're right. When you do that, it's kind of like when you say it like that. But then what if you don't agree with that?
It's the initial disarming. It's not that I'm agreeing with you. I'm giving a positive affirmation. I didn't say I agree with you. I said I'm with you. I hear you. I'm there. Yeah, exactly. And exactly does not mean I agree with you. It means that's exactly what you just said.
Exactly.
Let's move this conversation forward.
Exactly. I get it. I kind of like that.
So when anybody throws anything out there that you might 100% disagree with, you can always say, "Yeah, I hear you." It is crazy.
What about another pro tip? You're right compared to that's right. It's a hard one. I use that's right a lot when I 100% agree with something. I don't say you're right.
Most people are going to say that that's right and you're right are the exact same thing. They get the same feeling from both of those.
But if you don't know that little trick and technique, which one's more substantial?
When somebody says you're right, I feel like it's subservient. They're bowing to your position.
Okay.
Like you have completely changed. It's some factual thing that you have changed.
Okay.
That's right is more global. It's like, well, yeah, sure, that's right. But it allows a but to fly in there.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
You're right is subservient. That's right, in my understanding of it, says that I 100% agree with your statement. That's right. That fact that you've stated, that position that you've stated, that understanding that you've shown me is 100% right. Pause, rate.
Not that it is correct, but it is in alignment with what I think.
It is in alignment with what I think.
So if I think that's right, so I'm saying that yes, what you just said and what I think are boom the same thing.
Yep.
Let's move forward.
Yep. I find myself doing that a lot now, and then I'm always hearing myself go, "That's right," and then my question in my brain is always, "Do you really believe that?" So it's funny because that's right has been something that sticks with me now. I don't say you're right anymore because I view that as a subservient way to respond to something.
I don't think it's not only subservient. I think it's a dismissive way to get somebody done. So if I want you to feel like your view is important, you're right. Whatever. You're right. Go on. You're right. I don't agree with it. I don't say I agree with it. I think that's right buys in agreement with whatever position you take.
And so you used a word there that makes me that equates you're right. And this I hear it when you said whatever. I hear you're right the same way.
Do you?
That somebody said whatever, dude. Shut up.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it means. Hundo.
So you got to understand that. That's a key spot right there. You're right, and that's right. You're right is like a whatever.
Somebody says to you, you're right. How do you walk them into where you need them to be?
Oh. I go I go back to the first part. Why do you feel that I'm right there? Why do you feel that I'm right? Because they said you're right.
My nonverbals were like, I'm trying to get it in my head where that comes in. I feel like that's a weird change, a weird progression to get to that statement.
Because I know what you're right means. I know in my brain I hear you're right is whatever. So if you say you're right, I want you to explain to me why you think that I'm right. Because then that shows me the intent behind the statement. I understand the intent of what you're saying. When I say, hey, you're right. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by you're right? You said I'm right. Are you agreeing with me? That's why I'll go second level question. Are you agreeing with me? Yes or no? Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. How? How is what I'm saying right?
It feels very aggressive.
I don't know. I don't think it's aggressive. It doesn't feel. It feels like it may feel aggressive. I guess it's depending on how you ask it and how you use inflection. And so if we were talking and you said you're right, I'd be like, do you really believe that? Do you really think that I'm right? Yeah, bro, you're right. So then I'll probably leave it alone. But if I catch you pause, like you're doing right now, if I catch you in that look right now, if the person I'm communicating with has that look on their face, and I say you're right, or they say you're right, and I'm like, oh, you really believe that? And you pause for a split second, I'm be like, you don't believe that, which probably could be aggressive, which would be aggressive.
You can't go poke them in the eye.
Yeah, but I mean, we're trying to figure out, you know how to communicate.
Chat's quiet tonight.
Chat is quiet.
We got a couple things and then nothing. Chat, where you at?
This is good though. I love conversations that make me think. There's nothing more healthy in communication than to have a conversation that makes you think. Nothing more healthy.
Do you find yourself consistently thinking during conversation?
A good conversation. No. No.
So your answer is a yes or no question, and you started it.
I started
like, no.
No.
Absolutely not.
A good conversation makes you think during the conversation. But I say that with a caveat, saying as you're thinking, you can't shut down the conversation, because a lot of times people will start thinking and then shut down what the other person's saying. But a good conversation is somebody says something, you listen intently, you actively listen, then you pause, reflect, see if it lines up with your thinking, see if it lines up with the question, see if it lines up with how your brain is trying to put it all together. And then you either say what you're going to say or you have the question for that person, whatever. Don't reload. That's never a good conversation.
This is a new term, reload.
Reload. Picture yourself every time someone's talking, you're actually reloading your ammunition to say what you're going to say as soon as they shut their mouth. That's reloading. You're not really listening. You're just trying to think of what you're going to say. In the presidential debates, that's what we saw a ton of.
So if I say, if I come in to a conversation like, guys, I'm voting for Kanye. I love politics. I'm voting for Kanye. How do you react to that in a healthy manner to move the conversation forward?
I love politics. I'm voting for Kanye.
Voting for Kanye. Yeezy 2020.
Well, I would just try to understand the intent of those are two separate statements. I love politics. I'm voting for Kanye. Those are two.
Here's what I found.
It's very good. She's listening. So those are two opposed statements.
Okay.
I love because we won't get into the whole psychology behind that. Forgive me. That's where my brain goes. But I love politics on Vote for Kanye would say to me, with a basic understanding of Kanye and politics, you have no idea what politics are.
Kanye's politics.
Well, if that was said, then I'd be like, explain to me. Help me understand. How do you see Kanye as politics?
Do we address politics in the workplace? Like, is that a thing? I feel like we're starting to blend social media and like personal media to the point where the water cooler conversations become what people talk about on Skype, on whatever, because we're so disjointed right now.
I don't know. We don't talk politics at work. That's a no-no. That's in my experience, I have not seen a conversation about politics in a work environment ever go well. I've never seen it. Too many opinions, too many thoughts, too many people that don't fully understand that, have a good understanding of what conversation, what dialogue looks like.
Oh man, you're touching on something that I've touched on a lot on LinkedIn. It's like every experience you've had in your entire life has happened up until right now at this point where you're sitting on that couch. And that has influenced every decision you've ever made based on from the time that you were born until the time you made that decision. And so I will never know what has gotten you to this point right here and has influenced every decision, because I think it's just something you said earlier. Every decision we make makes sense to us, the person making the decision, based on our experience. And you're having this external conversation with somebody that has not had that experience.
Yep.
And so you have these very complex issues with politics where there are a ton of issues, but based on your experience, you might have one very specific thing that you really care about. Everything else you don't care about. And so you make your decision based on that one specific thing. Then you float it out to somebody else, and then all of a sudden this becomes, what do you mean you don't care about this, this, and this? But it's not, your decision isn't based on 1,000 multivariate equation. Like, you're not looking at 1,000 different variables. You're focused on one because you have this one thing impact you in your life significantly. That you're like, that is going to influence my entire decision. I think humans we're not at a point where we can look at multiple variables at the same time and weigh them equally to make a decision. And people, you will have a different view of what's important based on your experience, period. I will never know your experience. I will never know your experience. But that doesn't mean that whatever you choose to do is not right or it's invalid.
This is one of those times where I would say, that's right.
That is right.
That's right. I agree with 100%. I agree 100% with everything you said. Our life is a collection of experiences.
Exactly.
And my experiences, though they may be similar, I mean, we can go white male right now. We can use that whole as a white male. There's been experiences you've had that have been similar to mine,
mm-hmm.
based off of where you've grown up. Maybe if you grew up in an environment like mine, we have similar experiences, but all of our experiences are not the same. And I can't frame you up just because you're a white male as you see the world exactly like I did.
Yep,
it's not right. That's a very poor way to view the world.
Mm-hmm.
Your worldview, you might want to write this down if you have a notebook because it's brilliant.
I don't have a notebook.
Your worldview is simply a collection of stories that you choose to believe. It's too deep. I don't know. I don't know if we want to go there or not, but your worldview, how you view the world, what frames your reality, your mental model of the entire existence of everything around you is a conglomeration of stories that you choose to believe. So that goes right back with what Blake was saying about experiences. Everybody's had these experiences. You frame thought based on the experiences that you've had, which then shapes your opinion, shapes your stance, shapes your ideology, shapes your thought process, shapes your decisions off of your experiences and off of your worldview. So you go from there. And the problem that people have, especially in this day and age that we live in, is people think their worldview is the only one that's right, and they think that everybody agrees with them. Stephen Covey once said, "We see the world through our lens we think everyone sees the world in our lens when in actuality everyone sees the world through their own lens, own framework, own mental model." Another wise person once said that there's no real world. There's only 6 billion perceptions of it.
You think people are as smart as you are?
Oh, there's tons of people. You're smarter than I am. There's tons of people. There's tons of people that are smarter than me. Millions.
But nobody thinks they're dumb. That's a big statement, I know. Nobody's like, I'm dumb. I mean, not seriously, like, I'm really stupid. You just need to give me, like, a couple crayons. That's all I got. That's all I can handle in life.
People use that statement to hide behind stuff. But
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody truly thinks they're dumb. I mean,
Why?
Man, that's hard.
What makes them not think they're dumb?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Chat, why do people not think they're dumb? Even if they're dumb. We can't look in silence. We have to continue to talk as we're waiting for somebody. We got one to chat and say something. Why do people not think they're dumb? Why do you not think you're dumb? I mean, we could both be super dumb.
I think that I don't think I'm dumb. I think I'm ignorant on certain things.
Well, of course. You can't know all the things. You're not Encyclopedia Britannica, which would be the modern day Wikipedia.
I don't know, because everybody knows something. There's something that everybody's smart on, so everybody can't say they're dumb.
Is there though?
Everybody is smart in their own way. There's something that they have an understanding of that I don't have.
The people you're talking about.
The people I'm talking about.
People.
The dumb people. I can tell a great story right now. It's a very funny story while we're waiting on chat. I facilitated a test in the military for people that had failed a very important test.
Like bubbling? They were like...
Yep, it actually was a bubble test.
Okay.
And
how did you facilitate it?
So I was the proctor. I facilitated the...
Like this?
Basically, yes.
Okay.
I had to explain to them how to answer certain things, how to fill their questionnaire out, blah, 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 how to fill their answers out. Well, I did not realize, as I was the test proctor in this moment, that all these people had already failed a test. This was the retake of the test that they had already failed. I had a coffee cup that I was very proud of that I didn't realize that I had that certain day, and it was taken from the movie Sixth Sense, and it did not say, "I see dead people." It said, "I see dumb people." And I had that coffee cup placed on my desk where all of the people that were taking the test could then see the coffee cup. So as I'm drinking out of the coffee cup, it hit me that I had the coffee cup that says, "I see dumb people."
Were you smiling as you took a sip every time?
I was not smiling. And after that, I realized the coffee cup that I had, I became very embarrassed.
Did they all fail?
They did not all fail. That's a good thing. That would have been funny. But I may be a story in there. I may be a story somewhere out there for them. There's this jerk of an instructor we had in the military.
It's the worst one ever. Chat doesn't even want to talk. Rock and troll, buddy. You are here and then you're gone.
We miss you already.
Yeah.
Watch this later and
The OG. The OG subscriber.
And know that we missed the OG subscriber, the original chat gangster.
Yeah.
That made us
OCG.
think.
The OCG.
OCG. We knew that could be a.
It could be put into the paradox of the world.
Original chat gangster. No, it could be on the screen. Original chat gangster. OCG.
Fair enough.
Write that down. Make it so number one.
Did you just go there?
I did.
I think you just went there.
I just went there.
All right, my friends, ladies, gentlemen, trolls of all troll ages. We're going to go. It's been 45 minutes. We will be back again in 3 days. And Rock and Troll, thank you so much for joining. Others that we didn't see, thank you here. We will connect with you soon. Deuces. Let's go Twitch.